All right, looks like we're good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to another round of afternoon doodling. My name is Lynn. I work for the San Mateo County Library System. You may recognize my face from the Belmont branch or maybe from all the other art streams that we've been doing. And I am joined today by...
Hi, everybody. My name is Debbie. I also work for San Mateo County Libraries, and you would normally find me at the Millbrae branch.
All right, so today is going to be another challenge doodle drawing in which the prompt giver gives a prompt to the drawer that the drawer does not know what it's going to be. But as you may or may not have noticed, based on the third login here, we're changing things up a little bit today. So you're very excited, Debbie.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, so today I get to give the prompt and Debbie is going to give her best to draw it.
I'll give it a try. So what do you want me to draw today?
I'm very excited. I completely believe in you.
Okay, thank you. That makes me feel better.
You're like an actual professional artist. Confidence.
Okay, so what do you want me to draw?
So what I was thinking, because it came up in conversation before that sometimes when you're looking to kind of jazz things up, you'll study and learn other people's kind of art styles. And so what I'm curious about is I'd like to see you draw a character in kind of your own natural style. And then depending on how much time, I'm only asking for maybe one more in a different style that's based on something that you've studied before.
Oh, wow.
And so either I can give you a basis for the character or it can just be dealer's choice, whatever you immediately feel most comfortable drawing.
I'd rather you give me the, I guess, character.
Okay. I'm picturing a cute little bear.
Oh, okay. I can do cute bears.
Yeah,
That's
I'm giving you a bit of a softball.
You threw me a bone there. Okay, I'm going to share my iPad. Let's see, so that you can see my screen. And you should see in just a moment.
Here we go. All right.
Okay, so a cute bear.
Yeah, so in your style first, and then in at least one other style that's not what you would naturally draw, but maybe it's based on either something you look up now or something that you've studied before.
Interesting. Okay. So I'll do my like typical drawing style, which you may or may not have seen in our past streams.
It is very cute.
Oh, thank you. In how to draw anything. That's kind of my go-to style generally whenever I draw in there. Like Lynn, I also like round shapes.
They're very satisfying.
Yes, I tend to go with those round shapes, especially for something that's cute, you know, that I'm probably going to go with nice and big and round, and sometimes I go like pretty chubby too. Let's see.
Yeah, it's a very big head to the body right now.
Yeah, big head, little body is kind of my go-to. Makes it feel more like childlike, I think is probably the analogy there.
Yeah, like babies have very big heads in proportion to their bodies.
Exactly.
When they're itty bitty, so that's kind of an easy shorthand for when you're making things cute. They almost always have baby proportions in some regard.
Right, exactly. I am just drawing kind of rough shapes, like right here you kind of see this is a leg, and I usually just draw like these like kind of hot dog shapes first for all my limbs. So that's kind of the shape there.
Do you ever use just like stick figure lines if you're trying to do a gesture first, or do you always go straight into like the hot dog shape?
I pretty much go straight into the hot dog shape. I don't usually do gesture lines so much for movement, or I usually just go with the solid shapes first, and then like if it's not having the movement that I want, then I will be erasing and then, you know, kind of refining basically. But yeah, generally I don't go with lines at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of eyeballing where you put them?
Pretty much. Yeah. And like if there's too many lines, I'll definitely like clean those up just so that I have a clear picture of what I'm drawing. And I'll also do some cross lines to kind of indicate that this is going to be a 3/4 view, and not a straight on view. I'll probably go with those ears now. For a cute bear. I also, for animals, I usually draw the muzzle as well.
That's the part I always struggle with.
Oh yeah?
Animals. Like, as soon as I have to have an extension beyond the circle, I lose my sense of the proportions. It always looks wonky.
Yeah, for me as well. Like right now, I feel a little bit like, is this muzzle placed correctly? So again, I'm gonna just erase the part so that I have a clearer picture, and then I'll do another cross area to kind of just let me visualize the actual shape of this this muzzle. Sorry?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's how I usually I want to see those solid shapes so that I can visualize it better. So again, I might even also do it for the belly. So I know it's a nice round belly there. For the arms, what should the arms do? I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna keep thinking about it. Usually for cute is always like a good like easy like you know
happy closed eyes.
Yeah, that's always gonna be, you know, a cute expression. And then also draw the nose. And I think I'm going to just refine my little cross area a little bit more because I feel like it's protruding a little bit too much. So I'm going to just adjust that ever so slightly, just so I can kind of, again, visualize like the shape of that muzzle. It's very subtle, but to me,
it does make a difference.
It helps me.
So you always move the guidelines first if you want to adjust the placement of something?
Yeah, just so I have that better sense of where my lines should be. So maybe I'm going to redo this. I'm going to make the mouth a little bit shorter. It makes it a little bit cuter.
A little more like scrunched up.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give a little eyebrows. Also a lot with my heads, I tend to not go completely like round. Sometimes I'll like give them kind of cheeks. So I add that little bump, you know, just to give it a little bit more shape. You know,
a little more fluff in this case.
I'll do the same on the other side. So it's not just a completely round head.
And that kind of helps it line up with the muzzle as well, which is another good trick. Because I often, again, when I run into animals, it's always that muzzle that gives me the trickiest part.
Oh, is that
because
right?
when I'm just following the lines of what I've already drawn, it always has like that weird bump in right before it goes back out. I'm like, that doesn't look right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I still haven't decided what my arms are going to be doing. Okay. I got it. I'm going to erase this a little bit. Too dark. I'm going to put the paws up here. So this is actually 2 paws.
Ooh.
and they're holding each other.
Oh.
So, and then, see, you said, "Oh, that means it's cute."
It's working.
Success.
It's the joys of a live audience. Instant gratification.
Why is that pose cute, though? I don't know why.
I mean, in my head right now, it looks like it's a little begging bear. Like,
You know what it is? That's what babies do.
yeah.
Babies do that. That's why.
Do they?
Yeah, like, you
I
know,
have
the
no experience with actual babies.
because babies will always, like, you know, they'll clap and then they'll go, yay, you know, I don't know. Because they grab their hands a lot, I feel like. Okay.
I'm both an only child and also the baby of my extended family, so.
Oh, wow. So you really don't have the experience of being the...
Nope. I need my cousins to have kids first.
Oh, yeah. You just add some toes for those feet.
I feel like since we've made it such a baby, it should be wearing a onesie.
Okay. Onesies.
Not to take over your doodles.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about how the onesies look like. I would usually, like, I'm just going to put, like, flowers on them or something.
That is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. And then put a little sleeve or cuff here. Everyone else wearing clothes.
It's always a good combination.
Yes. And I think I'm going to I'm going to ink this and color it. Just so it's
Okay.
Do I have time? I have time, right?
I think it's been about 10 minutes since we first started.
All right.
Maybe going on 15.
Oh, okay. I'll be fast.
Okay.
Oops. I'm gonna switch.
Yeah, the half hour always goes faster than you expect it to.
Okay, that's good to know.
I have learned.
Whoops.
Oh.
I am. Where'd it go?
Down. If you're looking for Studio Pen, it's right now at the very bottom of the list.
And okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. You know what I was going for.
I've learned your tools.
Yes. So I'm just going to use I'm on the right one. Yeah, okay. I'm going to use my pen to, like, ink my drawing. And I'm just using those pencils as guidelines. And I'm just going to draw this muzzle. Not all the way. And sometimes I add a little lines there.
So when you add in little extra details with the pen that you didn't necessarily sketch out, is it just based on, like, what you think would look good in the space?
Pretty much. You know, it's like, I never really know what I'm going to be drawing. You know, I don't have, like, a visualization. Like, I know a lot of artists who can just I don't know. I think they just visualize what they're going to draw immediately, and I'm always so jealous of those people who can you know, who can draw like straight from pen and not pencil at all. And I always wonder, like, are their brains, like, different than mine, you know, that they visualize a lot more than I do.
I do wonder that sometimes.
Yeah, I wish I could just, like, peek into someone else's brain and see what they see. And I don't know, it's just interesting to me. But yeah, with my little like extra details, I think that the little extra lines is more just from experience of drawing and what I tend to draw. Let's see. So I'm gonna erase my pencils. It's not as cute as I thought it was gonna be.
It's still pretty cute.
It's this line is bothering me. So I'm gonna, let's see. Now that the pencils are gone, like it does change the feeling of the drawing. So
Blush stickers.
yes. What else? I was thinking of doing the flowers in color. Just do it real quick. Real quick.
All right. Yeah, I think we're officially halfway. So
okay, I got time.
You do still have at least one more drawing I want you to.
Okay.
At least enough to see the contrast.
Okay.
Though to be fair, I'm completely eyeballing the time. So
okay, thank you. Thanks for watching the time for me because I am not on top of it.
It's very easy just to get like lost in the process of drawing, because so often you do something and then you see the next thing you want to do only then. So you keep wanting to like continue because it's like you finish this one detail and you're like, oh, and that means I should do this next.
Yes.
And then you look at the clock and you realize, oh, haha, it has been 28 minutes. 2 minutes left.
Yeah, usually we're not limited by time when we're drawing, but in this
it has
case,
an extra layer of challenge though.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it kind of fun just seeing what comes out at the top of your head.
Right. It is fun. Actually, I'm going to erase those. Whoops, I erased too much. I'll just draw the flowers real quick, and then I'm done. I'll call it done.
All right. Out of curiosity, since we both use the same actual digital art program, how much do you actually move your canvas when you're drawing on it?
I think it
like
depends.
Normally.
I don't know, actually. I don't know what I don't know. I guess I don't notice how much I do it.
Because I know I've had to make a conscious effort to change the way I zoom in and out when I'm doing it live versus on my own.
Oh, interesting. Am I doing
like,
okay?
Oh yeah, no,
okay.
You're doing great. You're actually really, really steady, which is why I was like thinking about it, because I know my instinct is to constantly zoom in and out and like rotate it around so that I get the curve the way I want them to without having to actually physically move my hand that way.
I think I think I did reach around one time so that I knew I wasn't going to spin the screen, but I think I do move a fair bit, but maybe not as much as you do. I don't know. Okay, cute bear in another style.
All right, I'm excited.
How am I going to do this? Okay. I was going to, I might just start with the regular shapes. I'm going to stand this time. And I'm thinking of making it somewhat more realistic, I think.
Ooh, okay.
In a way. In a way. And this is not a style I would normally draw in, but I do find, whoops, I did it on the wrong layer, but that's okay.
It's not overlapping with it.
Yeah, that's true. It's basically using a different pen and it makes my lines look different too.
Mhm.
So, but it is still maybe somewhat similar in style and shape and stuff, but let's see what I can do.
Yeah, well, different materials do often sort of change how your final product looks and feels, because you do kind of have to adjust how you interact with them based on what they end up doing.
Yeah.
It's like you can draw something in a very similar way, but doing it with a brush pen versus a very thin one gives it a different feel. Yeah, the technical pen is the one that I actually normally use for my own artwork.
That's your go-to, huh?
Yeah, I tend to, it depends on which I'm using, but I actually oscillate between using the technical pen if I want it to be a little inkier versus using, it's one of the pencils that I like to use a lot. Oh,
I drew on the wrong layer again.
Oh
no! That's okay. It's fine. Oh well. It might. I don't know how much time I have anyway, so we'll see how much I can.
I'm gonna just say 10 minutes.
Okay.
The HB pencil. That's what I like to use.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes I'll use that as my like final drawing tool. But I have certain sneaky tricks where I take advantage of it being digital art. And so I'll draw in the pencil and I'll get everything nice and cleaned up. And then in order to make it stand out more, I duplicate the layer.
Oh, and that makes it like kind of more intense. Nice.
Yeah, so it keeps the general sketchiness of the pencil because it still keeps the texture lines at the very edge of it. But because I draw so light, when it layers it up, it naturally darkens it, kind of like how you use a multiply layer without having to even set it to multiply.
I see.
And suddenly it looks like I did really darker, thicker lines, but it keeps the style that I drew it in.
Nice. Digital art.
a trick that you can't really recreate, unfortunately, without some really extra work with traditional materials, but a handy trick nevertheless. If
for sure. Yeah. And for anyone who's, watching me with using the technical pen, this would be kind of the equivalent in real life of like a really thin drawing pen, for example, like a micron pen. If you're familiar with art supplies. That's usually like a go-to for a lot of artists.
I was going to see if I had mine as an example on hand, but it's in a drawer at the top of my desk.
Do I have any? I think I have one. Yeah. Sakura Micron.
And
they come in different sizes too, from pretty thin to super duper thin to even super duper 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 thin. But they're really, I like using them. And I tend to just draw with like a lot of lines whenever I do use them. I might be doing something similar to this or
a little textured.
I also like writing words with those pens too. I don't know, there's just something that I enjoy about using a really fine tip pen in real life.
And I like how you're using the texture to also kind of imply shading right now, where you're leaving certain areas just blank, where the mind can assume that because other areas are textured that they're also textured, but they're not actually getting filled in with the lines and keeping it nice and light.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not that good with using shadow and value and whatnot, but it does the trick for me.
That's really all that matters.
Yeah. It's good enough, you know.
If it works for you, then that's what becomes your art.
Yeah, exactly. I
Maybe
think we're
4 minutes.
4 more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I have time. Not bad at all. What else can I do? I'm wondering if I should. Oh, I can't. Darn it! I messed that up.
Well, you can just use the eraser on the layer below if you want to get rid of the pencils.
Not all of them will go away though. Oops.
Oh, not that layer.
Not that layer. See, not all of them.
No,
oh well, that's okay. That's okay. And I might, maybe I'll do some color too.
Sure.
And I'll use, I'm wondering if I could do, like pencil. This is, and again, this would be like if I'm using a colored pencil in real life.
I really do love their pencil textures.
Yeah, there's some.
They really feel like you're drawing with pencil. Which, when I first started to dabble in digital art, I really liked the stuff that I made, but it had a very different feel to what I would do traditionally because it was always drawing straight with inks. I first started playing with Procreate and I tried their pencil. I was like, oh, this looks like my art again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing, like, the tools that they put out that are pretty much like
the nuance behind them.
Like, I used to draw comics with a brush and ink, which I still miss. I miss doing that. I miss getting like my
absolutely something to be said about like just the physical process of traditional art. Like there's something very, very gratifying about it.
Yes, there is. There really is. There's nothing that's digital doesn't feel the same way, but it gets pretty darn close. In terms of like the finished product. Like it's pretty amazing. Like how close the lines look to how I use my regular traditional brush and ink.
Yeah, I mean it's still considered painting for a reason. Like you may be manipulating pixels on a page rather than physical paint, but you really are doing the same kind of thought process in terms of how materials mix.
That's true. I mean, you have some conveniences for sure, with digital art, but you can still make your work look, how you want it to look. And that's kind of the ultimate goal anyway, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and it can be really worth also going back and forth between using digital and traditional if you have access to both, because learning how to do one will often feed into how you're able to understand the other. Like you'll have a much easier time recreating watercolor looks in digital if you have played with watercolor and understand how the materials will naturally interact with the page. Or you can just play around with brushes as you see them and be like, that's a cool texture.
Yeah.
And then figure out how to do it in real life. I think we're just about at the end.
I think so too. I just checked my clock and I ran out of time with coloring the bear, but that's okay. But yeah, those are two styles of cute bears. The one on the left being like traditionally like my typical style, and the one on the right being something with a different type of tool and definitely gives like a different kind of look to it.
Yeah, they feel very much like they're from two different types of stories.
Right. Yeah, like maybe the one on the right is more like a children's story book, and then maybe the one on the left could be like a comic book or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that's
it is interesting how like different materials even just can feel like they belong to different types of stories, like the ways that they read to us.
yeah.
Like I think
Sure.
it's almost Winnie the Pooh that like the very light,
Yeah.
kind of sketchy pencil colors
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
reminding me of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was going for.
Mm-hmm.
That A type of look.
Yeah, where like the other one I could see being in like a cartoon or something.
Yeah.
But yay, good
Well,
job.
yeah,
Nikki.
thank you. Thank you for the challenge. That was fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thanks for stepping up the bat.
yeah. All right. So, thank you for joining us for Afternoon Doodles. Be sure to join us on all the other programs that we have on smcl.org. Just check out the whole schedule of different crafts. We have story times. We have musical story times, just even some like classes. There's a ton of great stuff on smcl.org to see all our virtual programming. But thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in, spending your time with us. We are probably the last video that's queued up for today, but really whenever you end up watching this, thanks for tuning in. We will be back with more art streams in the future, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. And also, please feel free to add us if you do art.
Oh, yeah. Add us at SMC Libraries on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tag your drawings and let us know what you're drawing so that, you know, we might be able to feature your drawings on our show. So yeah. Anyway.
All right, but otherwise, thanks again for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.